Hi everyone, today I'm going to be discussing Master Harold and the Boys, written by Athol Fugard. Just to give a little bit of background of where the play is set, it takes place during the apartheid in South Africa, which was a time of racial segregation against black people. And it lasted for about 50 years, 1948 to 1994. And throughout this time, it was really hard to be a black person in South Africa. A lot of changes in just the lifestyle. So just to keep that in mind for some background information about the play. So there are about three main themes in this book. Displaced anger challenged by the apartheid, father-son conflict, and master-servant relationship. So just to keep that in mind before I go into some detail as a little bit of background information. So this book has three main characters: Hallie, Sam, and Willie. Sam and Willie are two black men that work in Hallie's parents' restaurant, and Hallie is a white teenager. Sam and Willie have been working at this restaurant for a very long time. Sam has known Hallie since he was a little boy. They have a very close relationship, and you see that play all throughout the entire book. Sam has known Hallie since they've just had a great relationship, and you see that Sam is more of a father figure to Hallie than Hallie's own father. So just keep that in mind. This book starts out with Sam is teaching Willie how to ballroom dance because Willie is entering a competition with his girlfriend. And so you see that this dancing becomes a peaceful activity for both Sam and Willie, and it kind of gets them to escape the apartheid feeling and the discrimination that they encounter every day. So one important quote that Sam says when he's discussing ballroom dance with Willie and with Hallie, it has to do with it plays out to be a metaphor for the apartheid. And so the quote is, "Those are big collisions, Hallie. They make for a lot of bruises. People get hurt and all that bumping, and we're sick and tired of it now. It's been going on for too long. Are we never going to get it right? Learn to dance life like champions instead of always being just a bunch of beginners at it?" So it becomes a metaphor for how black and white people treat each other during this time, the apartheid. And because no matter how hard they try, there's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be that collision between them. And as in, like, you can't avoid the collisions in life. So like I said before, Sam and Hallie have this very strong relationship. And going off of the quote, you really see as they're discussing this and as Sam is saying this to Hallie and Willie, how strong of a friendship Sam and Hallie have. Like I said before, Hallie looks up to Sam as a father figure because Hallie's father hasn't really been around. I'll discuss more of that in a little bit, but Hallie's father is kind of a drunkie. He doesn't get along with his father. So Hallie looks up to Sam for advice and for help and guidance in life as a father. So this reflects one of the themes of master-servant relationship because Master Harold is Hallie and Sam is Hallie's servant, technically, as a worker in the restaurant. So Master Harold and the Boys, that's where you get that from. That's Hallie, Sam, and Willie. So throughout the book, you just see their relationship develop, and then all of a sudden there is a change in the book where Hallie gets a call from his mother, and his mother is basically telling him that his father is going to return, and his whole world just comes crashing down, and his mood changes automatically, and Hallie becomes this kind of racist and just mean person like his father, and he takes it out on Sam and Willie as they are two black men. So it was just kind of a character shift. You see everything change. You see him change. You see Hallie, Sam, and Willie, all three of them, just get affected by this call that they get. And you see Hallie change the way that he acts when his mother calls. He's very angry at his mother when he's talking to her on the phone, but then when he talks to his father, he's kind of reserved, and he kind of acts like everything's okay. He kind of holds back his feelings when in reality he's really angry. So when he takes his anger out on Sam and Willie, I kind of criticized the book a little bit because I think it was wrong for that. I mean, I think that it was necessary, but I don't think that Hallie should have gone without standing up to his father or without telling his father how he felt about his concerns, and not taking it out on Sam and Willie. Although during that time, the apartheid, it was more easier for a white person to take their anger out on their servant, like a black person, like Hallie did to Sam and Willie. But I think that I picture Sam as Hallie's almost real father, because he's always been there for him. He gives fantastic advice to him. You know, he treats Hallie as his own son, and Hallie treats Sam as his own father. But you see that after this call, it's almost like the relationship just doesn't even exist. And so it's just kind of a shocking thing to read and to imagine when you're reading this scene. I just wanted to briefly read another quote just so you can get a feel for how the scene kind of went down, and how Hallie really treated Sam. So this is Hallie speaking to Sam, and Willie is in the background listening. Good, because what you've been trying to do is meddle in something you know nothing about. All that concerns you in here, Sam, is trying to do what you get paid for. Keep the place clean and serve the customers. In plain words, just get on with your job. My mother is right. She's always warning me about allowing you to get too familiar. Well, this time you've gone too far. I'm not going to stop right now. You're the only servant in here, and don't forget it. And as far as my father is concerned, all you need to remember is that he is your boss. So talking more about the themes of that, when he does get the call, this totally reflects the theme of father-son conflict, because when his father returns, it's clear that he's just not happy, and he puts on a mask to hide who he really is, and his father is oblivious to that because he's been gone for so long, and there is that conflict between him and his son, and they're not comfortable around each other, and they have to both act like different people when they're around each other. And for master-servant relationship, the relationship that Sam and Hallie have is shot, and it's gone once Hallie treats Sam and Willie the way that he does after he insists on being called Master Harold. And so this also reflects the theme of displaced anger challenged by the apartheid, because nowadays you wouldn't be able to treat someone like that. I mean, it's just frowned upon, and it's not it's not normal, it's not natural to do that, because we don't live in a world or in a society where it's normal to discriminate against another race. And so you see that Hallie's dad actually has some influence, and he turns into his dad when he does treat Sam and Willie like this, because normally he wouldn't treat them like that. He normally defends them, and he knows right from wrong unless his dad has something to do with it. So, well, this concludes my opinions, my thoughts, my comments to this amazing play. Thanks for watching.